Hello and welcome back to our TM Soup to Nuts video series. I know that you're all very eager to just jump right into the system and get cracking, but there are a number of basics that we need to cover off before we do that, and that is what today's episode will be all about. So it'll be about explaining to you what is the information you need to get going, where do you go to get that information that you need to get going, how do you go about requesting for those scope items to be activated, what are the prerequisites that you need to fulfill, what they will actually yield, what they will give you in your system, where to go to do some basic configuration, and essentially get started. In the next episode is when we will really start to get into the meat of the topic, so be patient, and we hope you enjoyed this recording. Depending on your transportation management solution adoption maturity level, one of the first things you may want to do is to look at the SAP portfolio site to gain an understanding of the solution capability that transportation management is at a high level, as well as get insights into some of the value drivers that such a solution would bring, as well as get detailed insights into the innovations that have been delivered to the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Transportation Management capability over the last few releases. Please do note that each one of those hyperlinks will also lead you to the SAP Roadmap Explorer, for which a login is required. Your next must-go-to stop will be the SAP Best Practices Explorer. To find the version that we're looking for, simply go to the SAP S/4HANA Solution Package, select Cloud, and then select SAP S/4HANA Cloud. This will then take you into the solution scope of SAP S/4HANA Cloud. Please note that at this point, the planning capabilities have only been released in the US and German countries, so please make sure that you have selected one of those countries to find the manual transportation scope items. To find the transportation scope items, simply navigate down your screen until you find the supply chain area. Then keep navigating downwards until you find the delivery and transportation area, and this is where you will find the newly released transportation management scope items. There are 3 scope items of interest. 2 of those will offer manual planning capabilities inbound and outbound, whilst a 3rd scope item will offer technical capabilities, providing the integration to the HANA Spatial services. As usual, you can click on the hyperlink taking you to the details of each one of the scope items, providing you with a high-level overview of the capabilities provided, and you will also find there the usual accelerators such as the process flow, the test script, a process flow in BPMN2 format that you can import into your own enterprise architecture software, as well as setup instructions. Please do go through those as they are important, and they will very likely avoid you having to raise an incident and possibly lose time in the implementation of these scope items in your system. As said, there is also a technical scope item, which is 46P, which offers the integration to the HANA Spatial services that reside on the business technology platform. Now, the consumption of SAP HANA Spatial services as part of the BTP is required to enable the integration of geographical services. And for this, please note that you must have an SAP Business Technology Platform account that is enabled for consumption-based commercial models, such as the Cloud Platform Enterprise Agreement, or CPEA. If you have one, then you're all good, you're set to go. But if you do not, then please do contact your AE, your customer engagement executive, or your partner to further discuss how you can acquire these licenses. The integration to the HANA Spatial services is required in order to convert or translate physical postal addresses into geo-coordinates, that is, a latitude and a longitude. The HANA Spatial services are also required in order to determine distances between 2 geo-coordinates, as well as the time it would take to travel between these 2 geo-coordinates. So as you can see here, S/4HANA Cloud sends the address to the HANA Spatial services, which then sends back a geo-coordinate or a distance, as well as a time required to travel between 2 points. Also note that the communication scenario that needs to be set up in order to facilitate this communication is the communication arrangement SAP COM 0573, and please do go through the setup instructions that are also added as an accelerator in the scope item 46P on the Best Practices Explorer. Once the prerequisites are in place and you want to leverage the transportation management capabilities, because the scope items are not part of the default delivery, you will need to request activation of them to the operations team. If you're unsure of how to proceed, simply go to the SAP Activate methodology for SAP S/4HANA Cloud to receive the guidance you need to know what the steps are to ensure that those scope items will get activated in your system. You will find the guidance you need to request the activation in the Explore phase, and whilst the request will be independent of whether you use the SAP Central Business Configuration or the Manage Your Solution app to perform the configuration in your system, it is in those sections that you will find the guidance telling you what you need to do to request the activation of those scope items. So simply click on the line Review and Request Scope Activation, and if you then navigate towards the bottom of the page, you will there have the details advising you of what you need to do. So you will need to log an incident. It tells you what the title is. You will need to indicate the scope item that you wish to activate, the system you wish to activate it in, as well as the component. Please give the operations team a day or so to turn your request around. Once the scope items have been activated, please do also take the time to go to the help to understand where you will find guidance for specific sections or capabilities provided by transportation management. Also, make sure that if you do make an independent search, you do not land on the advanced version of transportation management, as this may provide you help and guidance for a version that does not apply to the one that you have. I'll provide you a quick bookmark link that will give you direct access to this help as well in the description of this video. To help you get going, using the functions delivered in transportation management, SAP provides you with 4 distinct template roles that you can use to create your own roles or to look at the content delivered in those roles and cherry pick the catalogs that you want to leverage in the creation of your own roles. Please also make sure to have a look at the adjustment of the BPC expert role, as this will also include new catalogs that are specific for the area of transportation management. As is customary, there are some new configuration options that are provided in the Manage Your Solution app. So to find them, simply go to the app, then select the Configure Your Solution section. Once you are in the Configure Your Solution app, simply select the application area Supply Chain and sub-application Transportation Management to restrict the view to just those new entries that are relevant for transportation management. As you can see, the configuration options delivered are not overwhelming. This should facilitate and simplify the implementation of those functions. The configuration options that are provided are restricted to the areas of transportation master data, transportation order management, transportation charge management, and transportation cost settlement. And we will, of course, over the coming recordings, go over the detail of each one of those sections. You will also find some configuration or setup tasks available directly from the Fiori Launchpad. The difference between these activities and those that you would put in the Manage Your Solution app is that they will not be transported to your P system, which means that everything you do here will need to be done in the queue as well as in the P system. The activities here will allow you to create or update locations, because we need to convert the addresses of plants and customer delivery locations, for example, into a location object, which is an object that is specific to TM. There will also be a need to create organizational units, which again are organizational objects, part of the enterprise structure that is specific to TM. There will also then be a need to assign a business partner to one of those created TM organizations so that we know who the shipper is for a specific company code. Lastly, there will be a need to mirror all the charge types you will use in your charge calculation sheets into service materials that will be used during the carrier settlement processes. So by now, and hopefully before we move on to the next video, you'll have covered all of those basics and have those TM scope items activated in your system. It's time to get serious, jump in, get going, get cracking, and that will be in the next video series. We hope to see you then. Until then, stay safe.
My daddy's make it hurt.